Hello, everyone, and welcome to Seattle Pride 2021. My name is Dr. Ella Maria Nunley Spaights. Thank you for allowing me to have the opportunity to utilize this platform to speak to you about my dissertation. To tell you a little bit about me, from a small town in Georgia by the name of Tifton. I joined the Army at a very young age, and in all honesty, that has been the best thing that has ever happened to me. Education wasn't my thing initially. I ended up dropping out of college to join the Army. And then I had a soldier that just kept going to the education center. I was like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm working on my degree. I was like, well, I'm going with you. And from that point, 8 years later, I went from my associate's degree to my doctorate in organizational leadership. So I decided when it was time for me to write my dissertation, I decided to utilize my platform to give the voiceless a voice. The title of my dissertation was The Challenges That Lesbian Women Experience During Their Military Service. I knew that during the time that I was in the Army, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was a thing, and I knew how it made me feel, and I knew how I felt after the fact. But I was curious to know if there were other women out there that could relate to the same things that I experienced, that could relate to the uneasiness, or how did they maneuver during the time of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So I was told when it was time to write my dissertation to write something that I'm passionate about, because if you don't write something that you're passionate about, like, you're killing time. So I sat and I thought, and Don't Ask, Don't Tell has, to me, always been one of those things that just kind of happened, but nobody ever talked about it anymore. And as a lesbian woman, I felt like it was important to shed light on the situation, to shed light on the effects that Don't Ask, Don't Tell had on women, to shed light on the effects that Don't Ask, Don't Tell had after the repeal, to shed light on the uneasiness of the people with the transition and how the transition evolved. So I just felt like these women should be heard. I felt like it should be talked about. And also, when I started to do my research, I realized that there's not a lot out there about lesbian women in the military. And I'm like, I'm here, So I just wanted to utilize that platform to just give women a voice. Hands down, I just wanted to give women a voice. So just going within my research, I initially started with the foundation of women, like where we come from, like how did we enter into the ranks of military service? How were we treated? What jobs did we have? Because back in the days, only jobs we had were clerical work or being a nurse. So we pretty much started in offices until women started demanding more things. And that just like sprouted all over. And that's why we're here today. That's why we have active duty women in all combat MOSs. And that's so important that we had the opportunity to integrate throughout the entire force. But it started like a long time ago. And those women built the foundation for us. So just starting at the beginning and just going into important women who paved the way within the military, who gave other women like myself a voice. So just kind of going through the history of how women evolved throughout the military, senior ranking women that are currently in the military, and the impacts that they've had on all women, all soldiers, whether male or female. The impact has been massive. So after just kind of identifying the history, you go into the meat and potatoes of the research, and that was identifying women who had retired within the last 5 years, who was willing to share their experience and share what they went through. And my interviews with these women were jaw-dropping, just hands down, to know that they had like these experiences. Like I had one woman that was a military chaplain, and she was discriminated against because she was a lesbian woman. Her believing in God had nothing to do with her sexual orientation, but people didn't see it like that. And she was scrutinized, and she ended up walking away from military service just based off ignorance of others. Just because you believe in God and you're a lesbian, that doesn't make you wrong. That makes you human. I'm a lesbian and I believe in God. We'll say it all day, twice on Friday. That's who I am. That's what I believe. So people have a sad misconception when it comes to people's sexual orientation and how they worship. I never understood it, and I can't understand it because I don't relate to it. So I had other women that were in the military and they had a father figure that were in the military, or their father that was in the military, and their father was in support of the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, but didn't know that his daughter was gay. And then his daughter came out. She ended up leaving service due to the fact of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and then ended up coming back into service after the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. You had women who drove miles and miles to hide who they were. One woman was telling me that she used to put her ID card up under her mat in her car and go into the gay club to have a good time, to just show her regular state ID and not show her military ID. They used to go to a variety of places away from the military base just so they can be themselves, just so they can be comfortable in their own skin. I can relate to what that feels like because I experienced some of the same things. Like, there's nothing like being in a place where you can't be yourself. It is one of the most uncomfortable feelings that I've ever experienced. And those were the same type of words that the women that I spoke to were utilizing. Uncomfortable, uneasy, paranoid, anxious. No one should have to feel like that for being who they are. So just having those experiences, and you had one woman in particular, like, she had a girlfriend in the Army at the time during Don't Ask, Don't Tell. She didn't tell. People didn't ask, but they looked at her funny. But her significant other was getting ready to deploy. And one thing about deploying in the military, when your loved ones are leaving, you want to hug them, you want to kiss them. She was told by a leader, watch what you do. People are watching you. If her significant other would have never came back, that would have been detrimental due to the fact that she couldn't be who she was in that moment to tell the one she loved goodbye. That was a gut check for me, because those are the sacrifices that have been made by several women in order to have relationships with someone. You just have to maintain those boundaries or maintain those limits that other heterosexual people don't have. And it's unfortunate. You also had women who would marry their best male friend just so they could provide support for their significant other, because gay marriage wasn't a thing. You couldn't marry the person that you love. You could marry a close friend, and hopefully you have a really close friend that will share that money with you and allow you to utilize that money to take care of the person you love. That's the unfortunate dark side of being in the military during Don't Ask, Don't Tell. But then we shift gears a little bit. Even after the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, a lot of the women felt scrutinized. I had a woman in particular tell me that she never utilized PDA while in the military, because she was so used to hiding who she was. I felt that when she said it, because when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed, I was a drill sergeant at the time, and I remember getting soldiers in, and I got my first outwardly gay male soldier, and I seen him, and he had pink glasses on. And I smiled so much to myself, and I was like, wow, they really repealed it. And he was so energetic and so bubbly. And my other battle buddy was like, he needs to take off those glasses. I said, no, he doesn't. I said, until the Army issues him glasses, guess what? He keeps those glasses on. And he kept those glasses on. In that moment, I knew that change was coming. I didn't know how it would look. I didn't know how I would feel about it. I didn't know how I would feel about it, but I knew it was coming, and I was excited about it. So I ended up pulling that soldier in and just applauding him on being himself, but also letting him know that this is new. So take care of yourself and watch your surroundings and make sure that you are the most professional that you can be, because you're going to get labeled, unfortunately. And he did, but he remembered the advice that I gave to him, and he utilized that throughout his time in the military. Needless to say, he's a great friend right now. Amazing person, amazing soul. And I'm just glad I had the opportunity to interact with him at such a massive moment in the military. But for me personally, after Don't Ask, Don't Tell, I didn't introduce a girlfriend to anyone. I didn't display PDA. I would still travel miles to go hang out just because I wasn't comfortable. I was so used to hiding. Let me keep hiding, even when I'm not supposed to. But I did, and I finally got the courage to just be myself. And once I did that, that transition was massive, right? When I became comfortable with who I was, and I became comfortable with introducing my wife as my wife, letting junior soldiers know that I'm a lesbian woman, letting junior soldiers know how I identify, they gravitated to me. They gravitated to me for mentorship. They gravitated to me for courage. They gravitated to me for confidence. And I am glad that I'm comfortable in my skin, because it encourages other soldiers to be comfortable in their skin. And to me, that's a blessing. It's been such a journey. And just to have that opportunity to listen to others, it was such an experience. Like, I am so appreciative of every single one of these ladies that allowed me to sit down and share their life and open their life and put their life in a book. That meant more to me than anything in the world. I will always be humble and grateful for that experience. Now, do I think that everyone had a smooth transition when they did decide to come out? No, just based off the research, they did not. Do I think we have some growing to do as an organization? Yes, I do. I think now the military service is more accepting. I know when the repeal happened, it was new, and I know it took some time. I remember reading things like, how are they going to affect mission if they're out and in the military? I don't know if I want to be in the same foxhole with this person. And the things that I read, when I read it, I would think to myself, like, that's me. You've been side by side with me the whole time. You just didn't ask, and I didn't tell. But we have been in this together the entire time. You just did not know that I was a lesbian woman. But I have had your back. I have been your battle buddy. I have fought for you. I have went to the ranges for you. I've done everything. I went to the range and shot with you side by side. We've done everything together. I just never told you that I love women. So when I read comments like that, or I heard comments like that, it made me chuckle, because in the back of my mind, I'm like, if you only knew who you were standing beside. And a lot of the women mentioned that people knew, and people would ask, and it would make them very uncomfortable, and they would avoid the question, or they would avoid saying what they did during the weekend, or if folks came over to their house, they would have to rearrange their photos in their home. Just the levels of scrutiny that you receive because people assume that you're someone that you're not. It's crazy. I was grateful enough to have a friend when I was younger in the Army at my first duty station. Because when I got to my first duty station, I thought Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed. It was like six to 9 women there that were lesbian, and they embraced me with open arms, and I was forever grateful for them. And then we had a friend that had a house off base, and she let us come to her house, and we partied, and we were able to be ourselves, and she fed us, and we just had our own little house together where everybody went to that house. So coming in and my first duty station being as open as that, I was like, wait a minute. Like, what is going on? Because before I came in, I didn't know if I liked men or women. So I utilized that time when I got the basic training AIT to kind of figure that thing out. And once I got it figured out, to go to my first spot and everybody's like, hey, welcome, just taking me in. I was like, Don't Ask, Don't Tell is still a thing. So, but that was like amazing for me. But after that, I never had another experience like that. It was a rocky road. But I'm here to say, if I can do it, all women can do it. And times have changed tremendously. And to experience those changes and still be here and still be a senior leader in the Army speaks volume. I didn't allow situations to define me. I never allowed situations to attack my character. I became the leader I am because I wanted to be the leader to the soldiers that I always wanted. I always wanted someone to speak up for me. I always wanted someone to be comfortable in their skin. I always wanted someone that I can lean on, someone that I can depend on, someone that I can relate to. So my gift to my soldiers is to be that and some. I'm still here for those reasons. So Don't Ask, Don't Tell didn't define me. The repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell didn't define me. It didn't define those women that I had the opportunity to talk to. And I am so grateful that they shared their story with me. And I got the opportunity to share their story with the world because I want these women to know that it's not just you out there. You've had women before you that experience things that you may never experience or you probably have already experienced. Don't stop. Don't allow anyone to take anything from you that you want. Don't allow anyone to take anything from you that you work hard for. You deserve everything that you work for. It's okay to be who you are. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to speak up if you're being discriminated. Gotta say something. Have to say something. I'm an advocate for speaking up. The Equal Opportunity Program is so important to me. And I had an opportunity to go to the Equal Opportunity Advisor School. So when it comes to discrimination, that's not the way to go. That's not how you build esprit de corps within your organization. So I'm just grateful that I had an opportunity to share, grateful that I had an opportunity to give the voiceless a voice, and just grateful that I have an opportunity to be a part of Seattle Pride. Oh my goodness. Experiencing Seattle Pride when I was stationed at JBLM was amazing. Never thought that I would be back virtually telling you all about my life and telling you all about the choice that I made to write a dissertation. I'm ecstatic. I can't wait to visit Seattle again. I can't wait to just be a part of change, just changing the culture. And for any young women out there that are interested in joining the military, or even any young men, if you're interested, go for it. If you feel like that's the route for you, go for it. Have situational awareness. Be your best self. Take care of your family. Take care of your soldiers. Be confident in who you are. And nothing can stand in your way. I appreciate the time that you all have given me. I hope that I get an opportunity to answer any questions for you that you have. Please feel free to reach out. My contacts, I will make sure that you all get my contacts. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to contact me. This has been an awesome opportunity. Super ecstatic about it. I know that the group of people that are putting this together are phenomenal, and just excited for the opportunity. Before I go, I just want to give a shout out to my amazing wife and my son. They know that I am a part of this, and they're super ecstatic, and just thank you, thank you, thank you.